Ladies and gentlemen, from the Longhorn Sports Network and KVET Radio in Austin, Craig Way.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Burnt Orange Room. We'd like to welcome those of you here today to the ceremony honoring the second class of inductees to the University of Texas Women's Athletics Hall of Honor. Now, today you're going to hear about four outstanding individuals who were among the early great names in women's sports at the University of Texas. They've personified excellence during their time here, and they've gone on to contribute significantly to their communities in their chosen professions. This is truly an elite group. Each year, a selection committee considers nominees. Now, as you'll note in your luncheon program, the criteria for nomination emphasizes not only athletic achievement, but contribution to society as well. We'd like to recognize the Hall of Honor Selection Committee in attendance today. The chair, the esteemed Myra McDaniel, unfortunately had an out-of-town commitment today involving her law firm, but Myra had the formidable task of presiding over the bylaws for this committee as well as the selection process for the inductees. Now, their names are in your luncheon program, but if all of the members of the selection committee here today would rise, we'd like to have you recognized. If you please stand to be recognized. Thank you for coming. And to begin the ceremony today, would you please join me in welcoming former Texas Longhorn quarterback and current UT Athletics Development Staff Manager Donnie Little, who will lead us in song to honor America.
He said I would, but I prefer everybody. Glad to be here and welcome. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesty above the fruited plain. America, oh America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Hook 'em.
Good afternoon. I'm Kelly Robbins. I'm a graduating senior here at the University of Texas, and I'm a member of the women's swimming and diving team. We are very happy to be here today to honor four amazing women. Shall we bow our heads in a moment of prayer? We are thankful for this day to come together to celebrate the achievements of these brilliant women. We thank you for health and strength, especially in this time of despair in our country. Thank you for all those who made this day possible. Bless us and keep us. Amen.
Now, enjoy your lunch, because we're going to begin the program shortly afterward. As we get started today, first of all, we'd like to introduce to you someone who's very much at the forefront of University of Texas Women's Athletics, Senior Associate Athletic Director for External Services for the University of Texas, Chris Plonsky.
Thank you very much. It's so special to have a gathering like this today and in a beautiful setting. And how about the job that the Longhorn Foundation and the Irwin Center staff, who is family to us now, did in combination. As with most things in athletics, things are a team effort, and today you will see that throughout this program. Again, athletics does not operate in a vacuum, and we are operating in a university and academic setting every day, and we so appreciate those opportunities to work with the individuals across campus who not only support all students here at the university, but the extracurricular activities such as athletics as well. One individual is here representing Dr. Faulkner in the President's office, is really our athletics boss. She is Dr. Patricia Ohlendorf, and Patty, we thank you for your support. Patty Ohlendorf. And again, referring to our team setting, as you know, men's and women's athletics, University of Texas, with its great tradition, we work so closely together, and some of the magnificent things that you've seen happen over the last 7 years here, particularly with our facilities, the things that we have to support our student athletes and coaches with. A lot of work behind that, and a lot of the brains behind the organization is a gentleman that has served here for 20 years in a most wonderful capacity. He really is the Dean of Athletics Directors and one of my favorite people in Belmont 224, DeLoss Dodds. DeLoss, thank you for everything you do. One of the things that has made the University of Texas turn a corner in the last decade is the fact that we're in a new conference. We have great memories of the old SWC, but today we have wonderful leadership from the Big 12. Today we're delighted to have our commissioner join us, and it's Kevin Weiberg. Kevin, thank you for being here. And one more group I'd like to recognize, because again they are so critical in an advisory capacity to everything we do in men and women's athletics, and representing both groups, would members of the Men's and Women's Athletics Council, faculty members and others, please stand. These are folks that deal with our departments on almost a day-by-day, week-by-week basis, and we appreciate what they do. So athletics councils, if you could stand. On April 8th, year 2000, we celebrated a 25th year of women's athletics, maybe cheating by a few years, because Pat Weiss educated me a little bit when we were working with her on this induction ceremony, that really in 1973, technically, the university recognized women's varsity sports. But in that wonderful ceremony in April of 2000, we inducted our first class into the Longhorn Women's Athletics Hall of Honor. And we're fortunate today to have several members of that outstanding class with us. So I would just like to recognize the following people and stand, and we'll give you applause as a group. Beverly Bowes. Is Beverly Bowes here? Beverly, tennis player. Sherry Steinhauer, golfer. Clarissa Davis Reitzel, are you here? Rumor had it. There we go. Chloe, welcome back. Person we get to see every day, fortunately, the one and only Jill Sterkel. and the lady that we at least consider the first lady of Texas athletics, Jody Conrad. As a last measure before we get to the heart of the matter here, which is to honor these four wonderful women, I did want to recognize a little group in the back, and y'all can make some noise because we know you're here. Would our current student athletes who are in attendance today please rise? Thank you, ladies. We have many teams and coaches who are in competition this weekend, and many could not be here. But we purposely wanted the groups who were on campus to attend this. And ladies, eyes front and center, cell phones off, as we say before you walk into class. And be very attentive, because this group that you're about to hear about are the type of people that you can and should aspire to be. We are, again, lucky every day to have the opportunity to impact the lives of young people. These student athletes are the reason that we have jobs, and we appreciate that chance every day to work with them. So without further ado, I'll turn this back over to Craig. Thank you for being here, and hook 'em.
I noticed when the members of the basketball team stood up there, they had blocked the doorway earlier, and Jody told me coming in when they did that it'd be more defense than they played last night in the exhibition game. But Jody said she would work on that, you know, just so you guys would know that, you know, for next year. We'd like to once more welcome you, and happy that you're here, and let's get to the matter of hand, and that is the Hall of Honor. Our first inductee in the 2001 Hall of Honor class is Nell Fortner.
Nell Fortner helped the UT basketball and volleyball programs attain national prominence from 1977 through 81. A Mississippi native, Nell was an All-American two-sport athlete at nearby New Braunfels High School. At UT, she scored 1,466 career points in basketball for head coach Jody Conner, whose teams won 127 of 153 games during Fortner's career. Nell also was a member of Coach Mick Haley's 1981 AIAW National Champion volleyball team. After graduating in 1982 with a degree in physical education, Fortner turned her passion toward coaching. She worked at some of the most storied and successful women's basketball programs in the nation. Nell left Louisiana Tech to join an elite coaching staff for the 1995-96 USA National Women's Basketball Team. That team compiled a 52-0 record and won the 1996 Olympic gold medal. At Purdue, Nell directed the Boilermakers to a share of the 1997 Big Ten Conference Championship and was named League and National Coach of the Year. Nell was named USA Basketball National Women's Team Coach following that season. Fortner's talented team captured the 1998 FIBA World Championship title in Germany, but they repeated as gold medalists in the Olympic Games in Sydney, Australia. The USA saved its best and most dominating performance in the gold medal game against the home team, Australia. It was the crowning achievement for one of the most difficult head coaching jobs ever. Today, Nell continues coaching the best in the game as head coach of the Indiana Fever of the WNBA.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nell Fortner.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Woo! Well, Ms. Conrad, they did get one of my passes on. I did pass the ball at least once. I like to shoot the ball. I didn't want to defend anybody or pass it. I like to shoot it. But I tell you, I'm overwhelmed. I really am. I'm very humbled and I'm very honored to be here today. And to be here with Aretha Swindell and Joan Pennington and Pat Weiss, I'm very honored. Anytime you get to come back to your university and just to come back to see a game, but to come back and receive an award of this stature is very humbling. And I thank the committee, and there's a lot of people, but you know, the first 18 years of my life, the best decision I made was to attend the University of Texas, without a doubt. This was absolutely the best 4, 5, 6. Let's see, it took me 5.5, I think, to get out of this place, and I would have stayed 10, I swear. But between Miss Conrad and my dad, they booted me out of here. I don't know, but under AIAW rules, you could stay here forever as long as you didn't graduate, so I had every intention of staying here forever. But then the NCAA came in, it was time to move on. But it was the best 5.5 years of my life. And it was an extremely formative 5.5 years of, I think, a young person's life is when they come to college. But I think that I look at this, I take this award today, and to me, it's like receiving an individual award for a team sport, because I really kind of look at my life as a team sport, because it's when you come to college, you start figuring out how to surround yourself, how you need to surround yourself with great people in order to find success. And there's no question that I started off doing that right by coming here first. Jody Conrad has been a tremendous role model for me from the day I met her. I'll never forget coming to campus and visiting and meeting her one-on-one, face-to-face. That was it. I knew that this is where I was coming. And to receive an education from Texas has opened up many, many doors for me. And I think that athletes, as you come through here, everyone finds that out. I've traveled the country coaching basketball teams. I've traveled the world. And I'm not kidding. I see the Longhorn everywhere. You know, you see that Longhorn. You don't even have to put Texas on the chest. They just have the Longhorn on the hat or the Longhorn across the chest. We're everywhere. It's unbelievable. But even in the country, when people ask me, where'd you play ball? At Texas. You know, I'm not talking about the state of Texas. It's the University of Texas, and that's all you have to say is Texas. That's pretty neat. And then, well, who did you play for? Jody Conrad. Well, there's no question. Everybody knows who that is. Doors open up, and that's a neat thing. And what you make of your opportunities then, of course, are important. But I think I've been surrounded by some really great people, and of course we make choices in order to put ourselves there. But I've got the first set of people that I was blessed with is my mom and dad, and I'm so fortunate to have them here today. My mom and dad are right here. They were and still are the ultimate role models for me. My best coaches, the best coaches I could ever have. And I've learned so much from them. And then my friends that I've met through college and on, I've got so many of them here today, and they have helped form me as an individual, and it's just amazing what we do for each other, and I appreciate the effort everybody made to get here. Most of them were high school coaches. We've got a doctor. I can't believe that. That's blowing my mind, Jamie. But it's amazing what we can accomplish with the support that we give each other. They've never been impressed with anything I've ever done, and I appreciate that. I mean, I really do. I really do. It keeps you right where you need to be, and that's one of the best things I love about y'all, and I really appreciate y'all being here today. But again, I go back to life being a team sport, and I look at just all the opportunities I've gotten and the people that have helped me get places and have helped me learn and understand things, because it's not easy trying to get where you want to go, and you need a lot of help from coaches to friends to just professional people. But I think that the neatest thing is just how you allow people to impact your life, to open yourself up to them and let them help you. I'm not going to go on and on. This is a tremendous honor. Again, I think, I will say this. One thing that I learned so much early on at the University of Texas was coming here and seeing Lopiano work her magic with this program. And I mean, it is. She deserves a hand. But for me, that was impactful because I was here and I witnessed it and I was a part of that. The early goings of being a part of Texas when it was growing. And I'm so proud to have been a part of that. But then you get used to that kind of stuff, and you go out and you want to be a part of that again. And so you try to create that again. And you know you want to be the best that you can be. And it started here at Texas, all the opportunities that were here. So Title IX was extremely important, but to have a university that took Title IX and ran with it, and did the right thing by putting in the money and making it the best women's program in the country, that was an example that I saw early on. And now it's like you try to use that example and teach it to other young women and don't settle for anything less than the very, very best. I appreciate my opportunity here at Texas. I appreciate the people that I've been influenced by, and I thank you very, very much for this honor. Thank you.
Our second inductee in the class of 2001, Joan Pennington.
Even before she became a Texas Longhorn, Joan Pennington was a world-class competitor. At the 1978 FINA World Championships in Germany, she won 2 gold and 1 silver medal and set 2 American records. As a UT freshman, Joan won 4 AIAW event titles. These achievements earned her the 1978-79 Broderick Award as the nation's best swimmer. She earned a spot on the U.S. Olympic team, but competition in Moscow was precluded by the U.S. team boycott. Pennington's career then took an unusual turn. For 2 years, she didn't attempt even a single lap in a pool. New UT coach Richard Quick convinced her to return. In 1984, Joan was team co-captain and MVP as Texas won its first NCAA team title. In all, Joan won 8 NCAA and AIAW events, 10 Southwest Conference crowns, and 28 All-American awards. Joan claimed she was not an overly serious student at UT, but her academic credentials say otherwise. A proud professional mom, Joan and her husband, Rob Dyer, currently live near Nashville, Tennessee with their 3 children, 4 dogs, and 9 gerbils. Joan is active in her community in animal rescue projects and teaches nutrition for kids at elementary schools.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joan Pennington.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I feel like I'm swimming a race again. I am so humbled. And again, to be here with Nell and Retha and Pat, wow, this is overwhelming. It really is. I want to thank you for this honor. It's so great to see all of you here supporting women's athletics and to see faces I have not seen in over 15, even 20 years. That is so fantastic. I love Austin, Texas, and I love coming back here. When I watched last year's video of this event, I saw how huge women's athletics has become over the past 25 years. And I asked myself, how was I so fortunate, so lucky to be a part of this powerful movement in its beginning stages? And who were those core people that helped me get to this point? One of these people who definitely helped shape my life was Richard Quick. He gave me the greatest gift I could have ever received in swimming, and that was my love for this sport. When I quit college swimming in 1980, I had a classic case of burnout, and I swore I would never, ever touch that water again. 2 years later, Richard was hired as head coach, and he convinced me to return. And it was the best decision I'd ever made in my swimming career because he gave me a chance to love swimming again and to appreciate this sport for all the right reasons. Today, I coach a very small town, local high school. And in so doing, I hope to pass Richard's swimming philosophy to a new generation of kids. In emulating his positive attitude, his gift for motivation, his love for people, I pay him the highest tribute I think an athlete can give a coach. And although he's not here, I want to say thank you, Richard, from the bottom of my heart. Another college coach who has greatly impacted my career is Paul Bergen. I can still hear his strident voice yelling at me over and over, "Joan, you're just not competitive enough. You're just not competitive." And oh, if I had a dime for every time I heard him say, "Joan, you're giving me gray hair," I would have been financially set a long time ago. But what he learned and I later cultivated was that while I wasn't competitive with others, I was very competitive with myself. And he tapped into that drive, and he motivated me to achieve times I never thought possible. He was the first coach who believed that I could be a collegiate, a national, even a world champion at a time when I was only hoping I could find on a state meet. So I want to thank Coach Paul Bergen for helping me to develop a very strong work ethic and a huge sense or a huge belief in myself. Thank you. There are other many great coaches and mentors who have shaped the course of my life, and I don't have time to talk about them individually, but I want to recognize a few of my assistant coaches, Bailey Weathers, Randy Ernst, Jill Sturkle, as well as the men's coaches, Eddie Reese, Chris Kubik, and Chris Kirshner. My teammates, all of my teammates, both the men's and the women's team, and all my roommates, some of whom are here, by the way, at table number 1. That's Peggy and Jill and Bonnie and Carol. What I want to say to all of you, that you're the voices that are closest to my heart. You are my most treasured memories. There is no doubt in my mind that if it weren't for all of you, I would not be standing here. I thank you for your friendship. I thank you for enriching my life, especially my social life. You know, we created some of the craziest, wildest, most fun times. And do you realize how amazing it is that we're actually still alive to tell about it? You know, come to think of it, I think you may be actually pretty lucky that I don't have time to talk about you individually. I also want to thank my parents. My mom, who I appreciate so much more since I have become a mother of 3. I cannot thank her enough for all the time and energy that she has sacrificed so that I could achieve my dreams. And I want her to know, although she can't be here today, I want her to know that during this past year, how much I have admired her strength, her courage, her incredible positive outlook in her fight against breast cancer. And she is truly a remarkable woman. My dad, he's a very compassionate, brilliant man who absolutely loves life. And he celebrates it with his cup always half full. And I want to thank him for teaching me by example to always look for the positive in every single person and in every situation. He taught me that all people are valuable and that everyone from infants to the elderly has something very worthwhile to teach us. And I want to thank him for sharing his global vision of what really is important in this world. And again, he couldn't be here, but thanks, Dad. Last but definitely not least, and I'm related to Nell here, I was looking back at the 4 years and I went, oh no, the 6 years I spent here in college. I realize and I appreciate the important role and the significant impact that Title IX and the women of the UT Athletic Department have had on my life. These forward-thinking women, when offered me a chance of a lifetime, when they offered me a scholarship to the University of Texas. By the way, this is the real UT. We have some people back in Tennessee that are still confused about that. But now that I can see the wide-reaching effects that Donna Lopiano, Sheila Rice, Jody Conrad, and many others have had on women's athletics, I can appreciate how hard or how scary it may have been for them in the very beginning of this movement, and yet how rewarding and exciting it must be for them to see their vision become reality. It's because of their courage, their vision, their willingness to take risk, that I can look at my own daughter and see a much different and much brighter future. Thank you, everyone. It's great to be here. I feel very honored. Thank you.
Our third inductee in the class of 2001, Retha Swindell.
Retha Swindell left a special legacy at Texas. From Center High School, Retha earned a prestigious Texas Achievement Scholarship to attend UT. She had been nationally acclaimed prep triple jumper and an all-state basketball player. Retha was the first African-American player in UT women's varsity basketball history. More important, she helped open doors for other minority women student athletes to pursue their dreams at the University of Texas. Retha was one of the top players in the AIAW, an imposing presence in the paint, a prolific rebounder, and an intimidating defender. She was team co-MVP as a sophomore in 1976 and 77. Coach Jody Conrad's first year at Texas. Tragedy struck Retha's family in her junior year when her mother was killed in an auto accident. Retha filled an emotional and maternal role for her younger triplet sisters and 5 other siblings. By the time she completed her eligibility, she had amassed astounding career totals of 1,795 points and 1,759 rebounds. Her career rebounding records at UT still stand. She also made the 1978 USA Women's Basketball Select Team, which competed in Asia. After graduating from UT in 1979 with a bachelor's degree in physical education, Retha played professional basketball. She worked in secondary education in Tyler and Pineland, Texas, and has taught and coached the last 16 years at Baytown. She has twice been named District Coach of the Year. Among her star prep pupils is Teresa Weatherspoon, now an All-Pro with the WNBA New York Liberty.
Ladies and gentlemen, Retha Swindell.
Thank you. I'd like to say that I'm not as long-winded as Nell. I'd like to thank the committee for selecting me for this honor. I'd like to ditto what Nell said as to how proud I am to be a Longhorn. I was just proud being a Longhorn, but to be inducted with such an honor with such an elite group as the Hall of Honor, it's just amazing to me. Many of my friends and family members, they were all, they were excited, you know. They were proud of me and showed a lot of admiration. But I just want to say to them that as honored as I am to have this award, it's more important to me that they're here to share it with me. And that's my group right there. With the guidance of my coaches, Coach Conrad, and my teachers, I feel like I've had good role models, and this is what they produce. I feel like I'm a part of what they programmed me to be. It's the same thing with my family. The things I went through with them is they're part of me. And everything I am now, I feel like I owe to all of those people. I guess I should start with high school. That was a long time ago. I think getting to the university, I guess, is the first thing. Judy Bowers, who's my high school teacher, my mentor and my best friend. She I think she started wrote the letters to make sure that my name was pulled out when the people started nominating for this event, this award. And she knew I needed a lot of guidance. Because when I graduated from high school, I was trying to decide whether to go to Panola College or the university. So she knew I needed someone to point me in the right directions, and thank God she did. It was a great experience being here with Coach Conrad. I appreciate her effort in keeping all of the X's active in what goes on at the university. I think she does a great job of making sure we're a part of everything that goes on here, and not just leaving us to collect dust someplace. And I thank you very much for that, Coach Conrad. And I thank my family. I never know what they're going to do. They mentioned the triplets and that's them. Right? Don't y'all stand up? And they keep me going. I see them once a week, and you think I only saw them once a year. Because every time I walk in the door, they're all excited and they just smiles and greeting me like they hadn't seen me in a year. And I don't think they realize how important that is to me, to keep me going and to keep me moving in the right direction that I want to go. And my sister Pam is sitting there shaking her head. It's like, when are you going to mention me? She's a Virgo. They need a lot of attention. Go ahead, Pam. Stand up, please. And she mentioned, remember her family fighting breast cancer. She's also fighting the breast cancer, and she's doing really great. And there's a table here of my friends from college. I'll start with Dan Bailey. He was the coach away from the court. He was always telling me what I needed to do on the court that Coach Conrad didn't tell me. It's like, and the thing that was amazing was he was always surprised when I would do some of the things he suggested. He'd look at me like, "Oh, Swindell, that was good." And my roommate Letty is here. Letty knows nothing about basketball at all, but she was at every game, and she cheered me on. And my friend Evelyn. She was pretty much like Dan. I got constructive criticism after each game from her. Oh, I should have elbowed that one a little harder, something in that nature. And my brothers are here, Charles Ernest at this table with Charles with his wife Maura, and the table over here my nephew and friend Patrick. And some of my co-workers are here. Catherine Wright and Gloria Pruitt, this table here. And I just wanted to recognize all those people who thought it was important enough to be here to see this happen for me. And basically, I don't have much else to say. I feel like everything that they said, I agree with. And I thank you very much for this honor.
The final member of our class of 2001 UT Women's Athletics Hall of Honor, Pat Weiss.
Pat Weiss's tenure at UT began in 1957 as Associate Professor of Health and Physical Education. She started coaching women golfers at Texas in 1969 as part of UT's intramural department. She funded the team out of her own pocket. In 1973, UT announced the formation of a varsity women's athletics program, and Pat recruited Nancy Hager of Dallas, a state champion golfer, who was the first UT woman athlete to receive a scholarship. Texas women's golf attracted excellent players. The Longhorns were a reflection of their head coach. Pat's patient teaching methods, her standards for proper course behavior, and her knack of getting the most out of each individual player are all part of her Texas legacy. Pat's Texas teams won 7 SWC championships, with 7 players earning league medalist honors. The Longhorns finished in the national top 10 11 times. Collectively, she coached 11 All-Americans, 21 All-Conference players, 4 Southwest Conference Players of the Year, a National Player of the Year, 3 Honda Broderick Award winners, and 2 individual national champions. Many of her players compete in the LPGA. Pat was selected National Coach of the Year by the LPGA in 1987 and again in 1988 by the National Golf Coaches Association. In 1991, she received the Gladys Palmer Award, the highest honor bestowed by the NGCA. In 1977, Pat also started the Betsy Rawls Invitational Tournament, honoring the former UT and LPGA golf great. Pat is a distinguished alumnus of the University of Arkansas, but today remains a most avid and loyal fan of all UT sports.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pat Weiss.
Haven't had that much applause since the day I announced my retirement. And Jill led the yells. I really want to congratulate these 3 who have preceded me, and I really hate to have to follow that act. But those of us who had the good fortune and opportunity to see these 3 ladies perform know very much that they deserve this award because they were all terrific here. I have to have notes because my memory's not as young as theirs. There are 3 really important people here in my career at the University of Texas who were so instrumental in helping me, who I'd like to recognize. Starting first with the coach who came to the University of Texas same time I did. I really had wished I could have been on his staff, but I couldn't. But he's been a good friend and a very loyal supporter, Coach Darrell Royal. When I did get an opportunity to become coach, he was the person who was the idol because he was so honest, so full of integrity, and so dedicated. Another person I'd like to recognize back there, because he was also a big help to me in many ways, is Coach George Hannon, who was the men's coach for many years. His wife, Jo, is with him, and while George was coaching, he was also the head professional out at Morris Williams golf course, and before I moved my tournament, I used to hold my tournament out there, and George was always just a tremendous help. Thank you, Coach. One of the most influential people and helpful persons to me in my coaching career was Mr. Harvey Pennick. And his wife, Helen, is here, and I'd like for her to stand. Helen, I'm not going to tell you how many hours I spent with Harvey out there at the golf course. But he just was always a man of so much wisdom and really helped me, not only me personally, but a number of my players through the years. Some of the things have already been mentioned that I was going to say, but I'm going to repeat a little bit of it, give you a little bit of background on the golf team. Not that I think you might be interested, but you might. But primarily because I'm the only one I think still around who can tell some of this. It was mentioned that in 1969 we started what we called a golf club, sport club under the Division of Recreational Sports. No funding, really not anything except a desire of 3 or 4 young ladies who came to our department and wanted to have the opportunity to go and compete. So we got organized. Our only competition was truly in the state of Texas, the likes of Temple Junior College, Southwest Texas, Odessa Junior College, Lamar University, Houston Baptist. Those were the teams we competed with. That started back in 1969. With no funding or anything like that, but we really had a good time, and that's when we got started. 1973, Dr. Stephen Spur, I might add with the urging of an act of Congress, actually established the Intercollegiate Athletic Department for women, for which we were very grateful. Still not much funding, but at least we now had a title. At least we now had a department, something to get us going. I'd like to say that it was already mentioned, but I'd like to mention it again. The first recipient of an athletic scholarship, female, was Nancy Hager. And Nancy is here today. Nancy, would you stand wherever you are? And I'll have to tell you another little story about that. During the years when Nancy was here, she had been Crenshaw dated for a couple of years, and we were holding the state AIW championship out at Morris Williams, and Ben was caddying for Nancy. And when it was all over, for some oddball reason, the other coaches and players didn't really think that was quite fair. That is where the decision for no caddies in women's golf, collegiate golf, would take place. And I used to call it the Nancy Ben rule. The rule was made that if you cannot furnish caddies for the entire field, then no one can have one. We didn't ride in carts because we couldn't afford to pay for them. So the girls walked and carried their bags. 1975, we were extremely fortunate to have Donald Opiano come on board. And believe me, I don't think there will ever be an athletic director quite like Donald Opiano. When she came here, there were 7 sports at that time, and I can truly say that I'm a Donna Lopiano survivor. I'm the only one of the original group of coaches who was here when Donna came, and I'm very proud of that. Because Donna's main goal when she got here, she had 3 major objectives: to hire the best coaches she could hire, to get the funding so that we could have the best competition that there was, and to graduate our athletes. Those were the main things that Donna drummed into us. So, and believe me, she went out and got the best coaches. These ladies have alluded to some of that good coaching. Go back to Richard Quick and Paul Bergen, Mick Haley, and Jody Conrad. I mean, you just can't beat it. And to receive this honor, knowing that group of colleagues I worked with, just makes it extra, extra special. I'd like to mention one of the first things that Donna went to work on was to get the UT Tower lighted orange for achievements in women's athletics. I'm very proud to say that the golf team was the first one to light the tower orange. We just happened, the tennis team had won the same day, but we just happened to be playing the state tournament in Austin, and so we got there first. But that was a very proud moment. The next big change that we made through the years was 1981, when we went from AIW under the umbrella of the NCAA. That year, Donna was going to hold out till the bitter end with AIW. And while they held 2 championships, the NCAA played out at Stanford, but we didn't get to go. We played the AIW championship at Ohio State University. Cindy Fig Currier was a senior on that team, and Sherry Steinhauer was a freshman on that team, and we finished second at the very last AIW championship. Also, the things that changed so much when we went under NCAA was that now we can recruit. Under the AIW rules, we could not leave campus to go recruit. We could not pay for any athlete to come to our campus. But you know, in a way, it was really very good, because you knew when they came here at their own expense that they were interested in Texas. And it was not hard to sell Texas. I did not go off to the far countries of the world, nor to the far states, even though I had players from Michigan, Wisconsin, to California, to New Zealand, to South Africa, to Japan. I did not go and recruit them. All I had to do was get them to Austin, and they were sold, because this university sells itself. I even had the star junior player out of Arkansas, and she graduated from the University of Texas. Those 20 years I coached here would not have been at all successful if it had not been for the support of the staff that Donna Lopiano brought in here. These ladies have alluded to the fact we had the best academic staff, and I could name a lot of names out there, but I'm afraid I might leave someone out. But we did have, without a doubt, the best academic staff, the best sports medicine, the best public relations, the best media group. You just name it, we were provided everything that we needed to be successful. And that's why the University of Texas, I still think, is the top women's athletic program in the country. Also, I had great support from my relatives. My sister Rosemary is here with her husband Dick, her daughter Lynn, and her son Steve Kirchhoff. They're here representing my family. Also, a very special group of friends who helped in the last 13 or so years to put on one of the best collegiate tournaments in the country, which we named for one of my friends, an LPGA star, Betsy Rawls. We played the tournament for many years out at Morris Williams with Coach George Hannon's help. Then in '81, I believe it was, George informed me that the city was going to be redoing the greens on the course that year, and perhaps I would want to look some other place to hold the tournament. So I went up to Great Hills and was fortunate enough to get to move the tournament up there. At that time, the person who was head of Great Hills said, "Coach, I'll let you move it up here on one condition." And I said, "Well, what's that?" And he said, "We want you permanently." And permanently it was. There are a lot of people here from Great Hills today, most especially from the Women's Golf Association, but other members too, who were so helpful and so supportive all those years. Thank you very much. There's no coach who can possibly be any more successful than the players that he or she brings in. I don't mean this I hope you don't take it the wrong way, but my saying always was in regard to recruiting, you don't make racehorses out of donkeys. You go out and get the racehorses. I think I had some of the best players that in the world play here at the University of Texas. And they are well represented here today, and I can't thank you enough for being here. And I'd like for all of my former players to please stand and be recognized. There also has been a request, ladies, for a picture, and I'd love to have one myself with all of you. So at the conclusion of the program today, I would appreciate it very much if you'd come meet up here so we could get a group picture. I'd like to thank the selection committee. As I said earlier, I coached with a great group of coaches. Many of them are still out there, and I'm glad it's them and not me. I wouldn't trade anything for the 20 years that I did coach here at the University of Texas. It was truly a great time. I think I retired at the right time, and I am very proud of Susan Watkins and the job she's doing today. She has had a top 10 or a top 5 team since she came in. Susan called me early this morning. She was very regretful that she couldn't be here. She's with her team. She called me right before they were getting ready to tee off over in Auburn, Alabama. But it was very good to hear from her, and I thank everyone in the Department of Intercollegiate Athletics. I thank the University of Texas for giving me opportunity, and I thank each and every one of you for being here. Thank you.
It's time for our presentation of these. Start off, we'll go in reverse order. Pat Weiss. Rita Swindell. Joan Pennington. And Nell Fortner. How about one more round of applause for our class of 2001? We'd like to ask you to remain standing because at this point we'd like to ask Reuben McDaniel to lead us in the Eyes of Texas. Thank you for coming, and have a great weekend.